Where's your headspace at right now with all the exciting things? We're moving fast. Trump's been in office over 100 days. Like, how are things going?
I'm acting as if things are already happening for us in the sense of what Trump has promised going back to 2024. I'm excited to see if we're going to get his Tax Cuts and Jobs Act to become permanent. I'm operating as if it is going to become permanent, which means that we might get that 100% bonus depreciation coming back. So, a lot of exciting things that are happening right now. And like you, I'm just waiting to hear when it's all going to get released.
So the Tax and Jobs Act is set to expire, but it's like pretty much, I mean, he essentially ran on bringing it back. So do you imagine any crazy changes, or do you think that he's just going to renew what he essentially started in the first place?
Yeah, there's two changes that I'm monitoring that I think he is going to change. So when he implemented his Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017, went live, he limited itemized deductions, and particularly the SALT cap, state and local tax, to $10,000. The reason why this is such an issue is because across the United States, there's so many homeowners that were able to write off their property taxes and their state taxes without this threshold. But when he created a $10,000 threshold, that hurt so many taxpayers from saving money from itemizing their deductions. A lot of homeowners didn't benefit as much from being homeowners on their tax returns anymore, as well as the mortgage interest deduction. He capped the mortgage interest deduction up to $750,000 of a loan. So you can deduct interest up to $750,000 of a loan. It used to be a lot higher before that. So those are the two things that I'm monitoring outside of the bigger ones, like, are we going to get 100% bonus depreciation back? And is there the possibility of him roping in no taxes on Social Security or no taxes on tips? Those are some exciting changes that I'm waiting to hear.
When you think about limiting some of the, SALT deductions and all, why do you think was it because he wanted to like give the middle finger to the liberal states like New York and your lovely home in California and all, or do you think is there actually a reason for that? I mean, obviously they raise more money, and so I don't know if they had to put money in some people's pockets, but then this was one of the things that they had. It's like a give and take.
Yeah, it is a give and take. It's more taxpayers' dollars that they were able to collect, and they gave you something in return. What they essentially said was, here's double the standard deduction. So if we go all the way back to 2017, the standard deduction around that time period was like $12,000 for married couples, $6,000 for single couples. Well, right as Tax Cuts and Jobs Act came to be, they doubled the standard deduction. So if you're married, that means you went from $12,000 back in 2017, 2018 to $24,000 in the standard deduction, and from $6,000 as a single filer to $12,000 as a single filer. But on the caveat side is, if you owned a home, you used to be able to write off all your property taxes and your state taxes. No more. Here's your double standard deduction instead. We don't want you itemizing your deductions as much anymore. So did it hurt a lot of people? Absolutely. It hurt all of those people that were putting so much money into a primary residence and viewing their primary residence as such a strong asset. It became less of such a strong asset when those tax changes came, because you weren't able to really deduct all of your mortgage interest and all of your property taxes anymore.
That's right. That's right. Love that. Thank you for breaking that down. Trump said something on Tuesday, according to you, as it relates to bonus depreciation. Why don't you share that? I know that you're making a video later on your channel. You like literally, I think that was the first thing that you said to me when we hopped on. You're like so fired up.
Yeah. So Trump addressed Congress Tuesday afternoon. And as a part of his tax cuts that he did in 2017, he wants to bring them back and make them permanent. What he did state, which is something that a lot of us business owners and investors are looking to, is he stated, and just as we did before, we will provide 100% expensing. It will be retroactive to January 20th, 2025. So what he's talking about is 100% bonus depreciation, code section 179 plus code section 168K. We saw a lot of business owners in 2018 rush to Mercedes or rush to go buy equipment for their businesses because they were able to take bonus depreciation, 100% of that cost in year one as a tax deduction. We recently started seeing bonus depreciation phase down. As a matter of fact, in 2023, bonus depreciation was at 80%. Last year in 2024, bonus depreciation was at 60%. So with interest rates being so high and bonus depreciation coming down, it does not help out the entrepreneur and the investor. We saw less spending, less people buying vehicles that weighed over 6,000 pounds, and less people purchasing investment properties and doing accelerated depreciation via cost segregation study. So if he brings this back, I'm expecting a boom in
Boom.
purchases for vehicles, equipments for small based entrepreneurs, and more importantly, a boom in the real estate market for people jumping back into real estate as a means to offset their active forms of income.
I love it. With that, let me tee up this first video from your favorite network, the CNN, baby. But it's covering what Trump said just recently.
Let's see this.
We're going to cut taxes for the people of this country. It'll take a little while before we do that, but we're going to be cutting taxes. And it's possible we'll do a complete tax cut because I think the tariffs will be enough to cut all of the income tax.
What's your thoughts on him and him hinting? Because you literally said when Trump tries to say something, he tries to back it up. He's
Yeah.
been hinting about potentially tariffs replacing income tax.
Yeah, so how I look at it is Trump is swinging for the fences, and if he lands on third base, he's happy about it. He knows that he has to get the sentiment out there that you have been overtaxed and the government hasn't been spending money the way that you thought they've been spending money. As a matter of fact, I got Elon Musk, my best friend over here, created a whole department called Department of Government Efficiency. We're just going to start posting stuff online to just get people pissed off about government spending. And while Elon's over there entertaining you with the Department of Government Efficiency and the website and everything going over here, I'm reminding you that we used to never pay taxes. The United States was not founded off of taxes. We were founded off of tariffs. So I'm going to go initiate my tariff initiative like I said I was going to do when I was running for office. And I'm going to start creating this equal playing field and show you guys I can get tax dollars without formally increasing federal tax rates. I'm going to do it by tariffing people. And although it may not be something that's permanent in nature, we're already seeing him repeal back a lot of these tariffs. The idea has already been set. You as the American people feel like you're being taxed too much. You feel like everything is unfair and unjust. And if there's a way for me to lower your taxes, would you be happy about it? And I would say 99% of taxpayers that voted for Trump were voting for that reason.
Right. What would you say if you had to just give him a rating first 100 days plus in office? What rating would you give the president of the United States?
I would give him probably a C plus. And here's the reason why I wouldn't give him an A plus, right? I think that in order for people to buy in for what you're trying to accomplish, you have to communicate very clear. And I think initially him coming out, putting his foot down with these tariffs, it was very clear what he was trying to do initially. But then now he's kind of backing off and he's pivoting, and the economy is kind of at a standstill. The markets are kind of at a standstill. Interest rates have been at a standstill. So now people are kind of confused. What are we doing? What's the direction? What are you doing about the debt that is just hovering there? And so people are kind of wanting to know what exactly is the direction going to look like for the remainder of 2025? Because for these first 100 days, we've just kind of been sitting here kind of being told all of these things and still feeling the impact of inflation and the impact of the cost of living rising. So I don't know,
Right.
man. I don't feel like it was an A plus grade, but I absolutely wouldn't give him a D or an F either.
Right. No, I love that we're bringing a lot of awareness to things, which I think is great. I don't get the whole Canada being the 51st state. I would love someone to like pitch me on like why that's a good thing, or like what his angle, because it's like the same thing with tariffs. Is like he's probably playing 4D chess behind the scenes, and maybe this whole like leading with tariffs is getting some other things, but definitely his rhetoric sometimes gets very much taken out of context. And I'm not sure with this whole tariff thing if we're like, I would love to hear from their organization to be like, hey, this is like, here's the strategy, or here's the end result, but they almost have to be playing games.
Yes.
And so it's very interesting. And what would you like to see him do differently going forward? Like, would you like him, like what would you, if you were advising him, or here's some talking points, like what were some of the things that you would get across?
Set dates on when you're planning on rolling things out. It seems like we're all floating around with this mystery timeline around when things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And I know as a tax advisor, I get tired of telling people, just be patient, just be patient. It's like, when are things going to happen? Can we at least get some ballparks? Hey, by June 1st, my tax initiative is going to be rolled out. And I know it's kind of hard because there's so many things that play into that, factors, whether it's from the Senate, Congress, you name it. But I know for 100% fact, if you give people timelines, people ease up around what
Yeah.
their expectations are around things, because now you've given them something to look forward to.
Yeah, an example of that could be until it's for sure, people may not want to go buy vehicles that are over 6,000 pounds because they're just not sure. But the moment that there's like that stamp of approval, now you give people the ability to relax a little bit and start shopping.
Oh,
And
without a
so
doubt.
that's a good example across the board around stability. And I think that's what the stock market really shows is your confidence level going forward. And, I got to buy some stocks on sale
Yep.
recently, but it's definitely, that doesn't scream confidence. And I think one thing that Trump is attuned to is a lot of times you could think that he doesn't care what people think. He cares a lot about what people think, and approval ratings matter a lot. And so I think that is one of the things where he will pivot if he needs to because he wants to be popular.
That is true. And one thing I do commend him for is understanding that you do need to pivot. I think with the last presidency, my frustration was that there was zero pivoting, period. Whereas if Trump sees something not working so well, first off, he's going to let you know, hey, I don't think this is working so well. I'm going to pivot. Here's me letting everybody know on Twitter about it. You know what I'm saying? So I do think there is more transparency, but even more so, understand the type of turmoil the American people have gone through over the last 4 years and how unclear things have been. I love that you are helping communicate clear expectations, but also dropping down some dates on when things are rolling out. Man, that would also really be a win for the American people.